connecting those who served our country to basic services.
Across the U.S., there are thousands of veterans who are falling through the cracks. From barriers to health care to trouble getting benefits, there are plenty of people who are underserved. Helping veterans in need is our big story today.
There might be some veterans out there that are struggling with financial literacy. We have Charles Tapp II with us, the Chief Financial Officer with the Veterans Benefit Administration at the Department of Veterans Affairs. So, Charles, how often do you encounter vets that might be struggling with their finances?
So we have approximately 150,000 veterans that are currently in receipt of their benefits via check or prepaid credit card. And we find that in those particular cases, those are the folks who are more susceptible both to fraud or paying additional fees to cashing those checks. So those are certainly a target for us to continue to help them and certainly to provide them other mechanisms to safeguard their resources.
Okay, so what are some of the biggest hurdles that veterans experience when it comes to financial literacy and learning that there are other ways to do things?
So some of our veterans are homeless, unfortunately, and we find that population of people who are extremely vulnerable to financial challenges. We also have some veterans who have had issues with their credit or legal issues that have precluded them from having access to traditional bank accounts. And that certainly enhances their financial vulnerability as well.
So there are hundreds of thousands of veterans out there. As you talk about some of these problems, how do you combat that? I understand you have a program that's aimed at helping people get connected.
Yes. So back in December of 2019, VA, in partnership with the Association of Military Banks of America, established the Veterans Benefits Banking Program. And the intent behind that program was to provide our veterans and beneficiaries access to no-cost and low-cost bank accounts with traditional banks and credit unions. And it specializes in, again, providing access to those who may have, again, credit history issues with the legal system or just unaware of how to get a bank. So for any veteran or beneficiary that's in receipt of payments from VA, as long as they're willing to directly deposit those funds into one of these participating banks or credit unions, they can participate in this program. So we're excited about it and excited about the access it provides not only to a bank account, but to financial education, financial counseling, and credit counseling.
So when we talk about that and being enrolled in this program, you said one of the big issues that you have is the fact that there are some veterans who are homeless out there. This, in theory, might open the gates then to set the stage for them to get that apartment.
Now, absolutely. And what we have with this program is that the banks and credit unions who are participating are allowing those homeless veterans to use their homeless shelter address or an address of a relative. And that's been a hurdle for some people being able to get access to a bank account. So we definitely see this as one of those initial stepping stones to financial recovery and financial independence and certainly financial well-being for our veterans.
So we have these resources available. What's the goal moving forward here? What would you like to see for those, you said more than 100,000 veterans out there who are still receiving paper check benefits?
Yes, over the last 2.5 years, we've been able to help 145,000 veterans become banked. And that's important because as you start looking across the country, based on the Federal Reserve's report they put out in 2020, there's pretty much 20% of American adults who are unbanked or underbanked. So this is a significant issue, and we certainly want to do our part to support our veterans.
All right. Well, Charles, thanks so much for being with us today. If you'd like to learn more about that Veterans Benefit Program, you can head to our website, 13abc.com.
Thank you.
Now, as we just heard, housing can be a big issue for veterans. One Matters is a national organization that's based right here in Toledo and helps connect veterans with permanent housing. It's called One Matters, and locally, Veterans Matter. So here's a look at the ongoing work. This is a map of all the veterans that are housed by state. All of the blue areas are active areas of operation. Now, the red areas mean that they still need some funding, so you're not going to see these programs working with the VA there. The whole idea is they work with the VA, use vouchers that are available for housing, and then get veterans in need into those houses. So let's take a closer look, and we can look at both Ohio and Michigan here to show you what's actually happening. Here in Ohio, of course, it is a state that's operational. Operation Ohio has housed more than 1,000 veterans, and the state has more than 2,500 vouchers that are allocated for veterans in need. And when we move up to Michigan, Operation Michigan has housed more than 800 veterans and has more than 2,000 vouchers that are allocated to make sure those in need have a place to live.
The Veterans Matter organization is celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year. That nonprofit has housed 5,700 veterans across the country. One of the biggest challenges some of the veterans face is finding a home. There are many reasons why a vet may be unhoused. Experts say getting a permanent place to live can unlock a new chapter of opportunity.
You know, it's hard to get housed when there's no place to be housed. And so that is an issue. However, specifically for those who are able to locate housing, like you stated, you know, they don't have money for a deposit or a bank account or, you know, there's just so many things. And so what Veterans Matter has been able to do is step in and provide that deposit and the veterans portion of the first month's rent. And that gets them in the door, which then leads to further services that they might qualify for that then they can then receive.
And if you'd like to donate to their mission, you can visit veteransmatter.org/donate. Just in Ohio, there are more than 700,000 veterans. The majority served in Vietnam. That's according to the Housing Assistance Council. Those who served in the Gulf War or Iraq and Afghanistan are the next highest. Their survey finds 4.1% of vets are unemployed, 7.2% live in poverty, and only 76% own a home. And the younger veterans are more likely to not have a job after their service. So to help those younger veterans especially, the Ohio Department of Veteran Services offers a military service bonus. It is for military members who served after October 7th, 2001. They can be given $500 for service anywhere in the world and $1,000 for service in a specific country. So if you think you're eligible or if you know someone who may be, you can contact the County Veterans Service Office to file an application to try to get that money.
Some help out there for you today. That is our big story. And from there, it's the end of an era.
Plans are in the works to snuff out menthol cigarettes for good.